Chijioke and Adesua was a young couple, deeply in love. They had two little girls, Iniolua and Chimamanda. Their parents were excited because they had plans to make a better life for their two little girls. One day their parents went to the river to fetch water to wash the clothes. They told their daughter as soon as they come back, they would make their favorite soup, which was a goosey soup. While getting the water, their mother Adesua was attacked by an alligator. Chijioke, her husband, tried to save his wife, but they both were killed and never make it back home. Their two little girls were sent to live with their grandmother, who was old in age. After living with their grandmother for a few months, she began to say, "My God, 2 more mouths to feed. I cannot do this anymore. It's too much. It's just too much." Iniolua and Chimamanda were no longer the same vibrant little happy girls because they both greatly missed their parents. Their grandmother was very stressful. She sat down, trying to think what to do with the two girls. She decided to talk to her neighbor about it. "I don't know what to do, but I do know I cannot do this anymore." The grandmother was now not only stressed but frustrated. The neighbor said, "I have a cousin, she lives in Nigeria. I will talk to her, and you can send only one of them there." That same evening, arrangements were made for one of the girls to leave for Nigeria the next day. Both girls cried that evening, and in the morning they were too young. They did not understand what was happening to them. Chimamanda was taken into the car. She wouldn't stop crying. The lady tried to comfort her by saying everything would be okay, even though the grandmother told her not to bring Chimamanda back. Iniolua's little heart was broken. Her mother and father were both gone, and now her sister taken away from her. From that day, something in Iniolua changed. She thought everybody was being taken away, and her heart began to grow cold and numb. 3 years went by, and Iniolua's heart was still broken. She refused to have friends because she thought they would soon leave her. When the other children wanted to play with her, the only thing Iniolua would do was fight them. She began fighting all children that wanted to play with her, and that was her way of dealing with pain that she didn't understand. 10 more years went by, and Iniolua never forgot her sis Chimamanda. By this time, her grandmother passed and never told Iniolua where they sent her sister after all these years. Iniolua, mother, father, sister and grandmother were all gone. She was now 18 years old and very alone. The other children that she refused to play with were now older too, and Chimamanda would still fight them. Just for looking at her, no one called her by her name. She had a reputation, and they called her Fighter Woman, and everyone in the village knew who Fighter Woman was. Iniolua was now in her 60s and still ready to fight, even though her body was getting tired. She never married or had any children because all the men in the village wanted nothing to do with Fighter Woman. She decided to leave the village and visit Nigeria, not knowing that's where Chimamanda was taken as a little girl. As Iniolua was walking through the market, she saw a lady running her direction. The closer the lady got, the more her old face kind of looked familiar to Iniolua. "Oh my God, could this be... No! No!" She screamed, "Chimamanda! Is that you?" Chimamanda ran and hugged her sister Iniolua. Her mouth and eyes were wide open in shock. She held onto her sister's arms so she wouldn't pass out. It was at that very moment Iniolua's cold heart became warm again. She felt love. She felt joy again. The little girl in her that died was alive again. "Why didn't you come back looking for me?" said Nyolua. Chimamanda said, "Grandmother came to see me and said that you died. I will never forgive her, never," said Nyolua. "Oh, but you must forgive her," said Chimamanda, "because my God is love and he loves you too." Chimamanda and Laniolua never separated after that day. They started going to church together back in the village where their parents died. Iniolua came to know the Lord. She became a preacher. The people in the village would pack out the church. If there were no seats, that was fine. They would stand up just to hear her preach, because they were all amazed that the one they call fighter woman was now preacher woman. Never give up in life, no matter what your circumstances is, because God is able to deliver and heal you of all hurts from the past. God bless you, and please subscribe.